Hey there, how are you? I'm gonna try to keep this video quick. um, basically, I want to talk to you guys about something called dopamine. I know you've heard about it. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter in your brain. It's like a hormone. Okay. You've heard of people who go for what they call dopamine rushes. You know, like they're big on like doing different things that give them that dopamine high or a dopamine rush. You know, dopamine gives you that feeling of a thrill. Okay. And you'll know people that are like this. People who thrive or seek after a dopamine rush are people who do things like, you know, skydiving. They seek thrills. What they call sex addicts. Things like that. Okay. Like anybody who is like that, they do certain things for a high, for a thrill, you know, it's called a dopamine rush. Okay. So there's like three main neurotransmitters in the brain. There's like three main ones, and you'll hear people talk about these a lot. Well, I guess there's like four. There's a lot of them, but anyway, you'll hear people talk about the dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it is super important to understand like what's your weakness. And I say that because everybody is imperfect, sins or whatever, they, you know, like everybody has something, right? And so a lot of people don't realize that some of the very common symptoms or very common things that they do in life or that their family does or certain things is actually a sign or a symptom or a signal that there is low serotonin or low dopamine in the brain. And this runs in families. Like if a family tends to be low in serotonin, or, you know, a mom or whatever will typically pass that on to the child, to children. And the same with dopamine. And so this is important because certain things that people do in life, maybe even on a regular basis, they're not realizing that they're actually doing it for that dopamine rush high or for that serotonin hit. So for example, with serotonin in the brain, when you're lacking serotonin, you'll crave more carbohydrates. You'll crave a lot more carbohydrates. There's certain signs of when you're low in any one of those. Okay. But with dopamine in particular, like I remember when you know, my late husband Travis, he was definitely a thrill seeker. He was definitely the kind of person that was always seeking a rush, and he liked that kind of thing. He would do all kinds of crazy stuff, and you know, that was his issue too. Okay, so there's things that you can do though to help with that, especially let's say you are, you know, if you're an avid smoker, you get high all the time, or a drinker or whatever, and you're trying to break that habit or at least slow down. Okay. Maybe you're just trying to at least slow down. Okay. You just need to know why and what part of the brain is being affected by that addiction. So if your addiction is, you know, cigarettes, or if your addiction is drinking, or if your addiction is, you know, the other major drugs, whatever they are, whether you put them this way, this way, I don't know, whatever way you want to do it, smell it, whatever you do. Okay. I suggest that you research and look up what part of the brain, what is being affected by that particular addiction. Okay. Now, because when you can find that out, there's other methods and other things that you can do that can help alleviate whatever that whatever signal, whatever that drug is doing. So if it's raising your serotonin, or if it's giving you a dopamine high or dopamine rush, which is a lot of them are doing that, there's other things that you can do to kind of, that is natural, that's a little bit more healthier, that would help ease that transition. Okay. The other thing is, if you are known to take, for example, uppers, you tend to be someone who is always looking for a dopamine hit. Okay, if you are known to take things that bring you down, downers, you are likely trying to mask, cover, hide, or run away from something. And a lot of times what you take is also will point to whatever your root cause, issue, problem is. Okay, so like, for example, when you are someone who takes downers and you're just trying to cover up, mask, forget about, not think about your problems, whatever, right? That is usually a sign or a signal that you are in regret of something. Like there's something that you regret. Whether it be your fault or not, it's just something that you regret. It could be, maybe you're, like something in the past is really what I'm trying to say. So let's say, even if, for example, if it wasn't your fault, but let's just say you were molested as a child or something like that, and it's regretful. It's absolutely regretful. Even you probably regret it, but it's not like you did it, so you weren't responsible, right? But you may be trying to run from that, or you may be trying to hide or not think about, cover up the feelings of that incident. And a lot of times those people will take downers. People who take uppers, or people who like the dopamine rush. Now, something else that I've noticed, this is actually scientific too, I've researched this. When you are low dopamine in the brain, those people, you will find people who tend to do this a lot. Like think. It's like by nature, by default, your body will just do things like this. Like, I'm trying to think about, or I'm trying to figure out. Like, you will see stuff like that. When you see somebody doing that, your body is unconsciously actually trying to raise your dopamine. Okay, because dopamine affects the front part of your brain. Dopamine affects the front part of your brain, and serotonin affects you in a different way, right? So that's just a side note. But if you're a person who's always trying to get a high or a rush, you'll notice certain things that you'll do to get that. Okay, and people get dopamine rushes from all kinds of things. So I'm going to give you an example of a person who's always trying to chase a dopamine hit. Okay, is anybody who likes being chased. Like, if you are a man or a woman who likes being chased, like you like being chased, you like your phone going off 24/7. You like, and I'm going to give you an example. I mean, I'm just going to use Travis because this is all very widely known, and he knows I love him. He is passed on. He's sleeping in peace. Okay, so but he was also very open about everything, and he didn't mind telling people, our stuff, like our issues, or just the things that we learned. Okay. Anyway, he absolutely loved his phone going off 24/7. I'm trying to situate this in a better spot. He absolutely loved his phone going off like 24/7. Like he wasn't this is Travis. So he loved talking to me 24/7 if I wanted to, if I could. But he also liked when I call. Like, I could call Travis, hang up the phone, and like forget something, and then call him right back, and then hang up the phone, forget something, call. Like, I could literally ring him 24/7. I mean, as long as I wasn't calling to yell at him. If it wasn't calling to yell at him or anything like that, I was just like calling him like, oh babe, blah 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 blah. Oh, and babe, blah blah blah. Like he loved that. Like, he loved that. Now I couldn't always do that, and I didn't always do that, right? But for him, I noticed that it was a comfort thing for him. He also loved, like, when the kids would jump all over his head, jump all over him, be all over him. and he got energized kind of like from that whole like being needed and wanted, you know, and sought after constantly. It's like in many ways he would do things like poke the bear. I say poke the bear. He would do things to me to get a rise out of me. He absolutely did that. Now, it wasn't overly toxic. He had his toxic moments for sure, but he wasn't overly toxic. But he would do things because he knew in general he would just, I mean, people saw him do this. He literally, he would just do things to be, you know, just to literally get a rise out of me. He loved to see me go, Travis! And everybody knew that. Like, he was just that way. So if I wasn't doing anything to give him that hit, to give him that dopamine hit, he would do something to create it. Okay? And also, that was one of his main issues was dopamine. Now, there are some herbs that you can take. There really are some herbs that you can take that will help with that. One of them is velvet bean. You can actually just take L-dopa. That's also an amino acid. You can actually order that on, you know, Amazon or whatever. You can look this up. There's several different herbs. There's Gotu-kola, which is I can't take that. I'm allergic to it. But it does bring extra blood flow to the brain. I can't take that. And also, you want to look this stuff up because if you have a history of strokes or anything like that, you can't do that either. Okay. Because you don't want your blood getting coagulated and all that. But anyway, L-dopa is an amino acid you can take as well, and it's non-habit forming. It breaks the blood-brain barrier, and you'll feel the difference right away. It helps you concentrate. So basically, dopamine helps you concentrate. Dopamine affects the front part of your brain, and also dopamine helps you make better decisions. It helps you with your decision making. It helps you with your discernment. Okay, it helps you process and think things through. And like for men in general, they say most men, their front part of their brain is not even fully developed until around age 23. Could be between 23 and 25. And for females, their front part of the brain is developed by around age 18, which is why, you know, women are just typically, usually, not always, but typically they tend to be more you know, mature than men, especially early in life, right? When they're the same age growing up. And it's because women do mature at a faster rate, mainly because of babies. Okay, mainly because of babies. But in any case, if you damage the front part of your brain, whether you've been hit or if you have done an excessive amount of drugs and you have damaged the front part of your brain, you're going to find that you might have issues with concentration. You might have issues with making good decisions or making good judgment calls, having a hard time deciding on things, and an overall slowness about yourself when it comes to making good decisions. Okay, and that's just a byproduct of, because basically, when you're always trying to seek dopamine and you're taking a drug for that, and you might have abused that drug. It could even be weed, because honestly, weed does the same thing. So I'm not saying weed. Look, I'm not here to debate anything about weed, okay? We all know what it is. It is what it is. We all know what the good and the bad is to weed, okay? But I'm in Atlanta, but everywhere these days or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand there's good and bad to weed. There's absolutely good parts to it and good things to it, especially if it's organic, not synthetic, okay? And not anything that is gonna make man boobies. Okay, so anyway, I'm not here to debate all that or whatever. I'm just saying, if you do anything excessively, it don't matter. I could be eating, like, I got watermelon. You can eat watermelon too much. You can do anything in excess and it not be good for you, okay? You can do too much cucumber and, it becomes a diuretic, Okay, so dandelion herb is not anything you can get high from, and you can take too much of that, and that's a diuretic. And next thing you know, you're going to get muscle cramps because you're expressed out too much hydration, and you know what I'm saying? So, like, it's just about when you don't do things in moderation and in a balanced way, okay? So you might have damaged the frontal lobe of your brain from different substances or different things, okay? And if that is the case, I suggest that you do some research. And there's ways that you can actually raise your dopamine naturally. So I'm gonna go over them for you, because you can type this in on Google. You can just type in natural dopamine boosters. Okay, so I've looked this up so many times or whatever. So these are just, I'm just going off of what I know, what I remember from what I read. But I'm just going to read this, okay? So that way you'll know. So dopamine is a neurotransmitter that plays a role in motivation, reward, and pleasure. Here are some of the natural ways to boost dopamine levels. Engage in rewarding activities. Exercise regularly. Spend time with loved ones. Pursue hobbies, interests, and achieve goals and celebrate success. Okay. Okay, so let me just talk about that. So you see, if you already possess a over an abundance in dopamine, okay, you could see where you may not be the type of person who would seek praise, reward, success, or seek to be celebrated, right? Or even seek validation, or it's like you don't care if your phone is ringing off the hook or not. Like, I'm telling that from my own experience, okay? Because when I was in Mary Kay, that was a big thing. People got rewarded, celebrated. Like we had lots of contests and things like that. And I didn't join Mary Kay for any of that. I didn't care about getting rewarded. I didn't care about making friends and getting celebrated. I really didn't. I mean, it was good. It was nice. I thought it was great, but I didn't care. I was in it for the money. I was straight up like 50%. I got a 50% commit. I got 50% profit, period. That's just what I like. That's what I heard. When I heard that in the business, I said, okay, great. I get to keep 50% of whatever I sell, period. At the end, it was about the money. But I am not weak or low in my dopamine. Okay. And so, but you can see where if you are, you will be the type of person who needs more outside validation, or seeks that, or you get a high from your phone going off the hook, or from women. I say women because usually people like this like to have multiple women around them. They like it, even if they're not dating. It could be their mom, the auntie, the sister, the wife, the daughter, whatever. They like when women are calling them. They just like that. They like it. It gives them a high every single time that they see their phone ring or they hear the phone ring, and they have a feeling of love. It is a false feeling of love, because that's not what true love is. That's definitely not what true love is. But outside of all the other emotional things that could be going on, or dysfunctional stuff, outside of all of that, I'm talking about physically speaking, chemically speaking, you may have inadvertently damaged the front part of your brain, or you were born with a weaker disposition to dopamine, maybe due to an inherited disposition of your father, your mother, stuff like that, okay? Depending on whatever was going on when you were conceived, okay? So, with that knowledge, right? Because maybe you're not as productive when you're on the phone 24/7, or you're talking to, different women or whatever. Like, maybe, you wish to be a little bit more balanced, and you can't kind of figure out why, or you're trying to just even come off of certain things. Like I said, if you can figure out what it is based on what you're doing, based on your habits, based on what you're on, and what you tend to gravitate to, okay? Then you can know how to do, you can kind of get to understand the psychology, and what's going on in your brain, and the reason, and what it looks like on the outside, okay? Then you know how to kind of fix it a little bit more, in a little bit more healthy way, right? Okay, now it says consuming nutrient-rich foods. Tyrosine, this is the other thing. I remember L-tyrosine. Now you'll see this in, I think L-tyrosine is in the 5-Hour Energy. You can buy L-tyrosine all by itself, though. You can actually order it on Amazon. I actually liked L-tyrosine, but I liked it in the morning. I remember because I went through a few bottles of it, whatever. For a long time when I worked at a couple of health food stores and stuff, I would just get stuff for free if they were getting rid of it, or I would just get it at a discount stuff. So I definitely tried a lot of things. But anyway, the tyrosine is an amino acid. It's in like protein shakes and stuff like that too. But specifically L-tyrosine, like, because you don't need to be full, you don't need to be on a full stomach or anything like that to take it. It's just an amino acid, and it does wake you up, because I do remember feeling woke up when I remember when I took it, because I would take it with my coffee or my green tea. Anyway, okay, so L-tyrosine-rich foods. Okay, so eggs, fish, and dairy. Those are high in tyrosine. Now, I don't do dairy. I can't do dairy, you know, but fish and eggs I do like, okay? Magnesium-rich foods are almonds, spinach, and avocados. Vitamin D-rich foods like salmon, mushrooms, and fortified milk. Okay, probiotic-rich foods, i.e. yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi. I don't know. I do a lot of cabbage. I love cabbage. Okay, so that's like sauerkraut. Okay, so that's that. It says get enough sleep. It says aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night. Okay, if you're not getting quality sleep, you're having a hard time getting sleep, you'll need to get on some melatonin. I suggest, especially if you're an adult, you probably need some melatonin, because melatonin does, it's a hormone, it wears off. Your melatonin absolutely wears off the older you get. Okay, so, and sometimes kids need it too. Everybody's different. Sometimes kids need it too. I always feel like I need my shine. Anyway, so like at night is when you want to do. There is something else called Calm. There is a supplement called Calm. You might have heard of it, and it is magnesium. Okay, but it's not the kind of magnesium. There's different types. There's 3 different main types of magnesium. Okay. Magnesium is good for so many things. Okay. Helps you sleep really good at night. Magnesium, people used to get, okay, you're supposed to get a lot of magnesium in all different forms. You can get magnesium from grounding or going outside walking barefoot in green grass, okay, because grass has magnesium. But if the grass is, or the grass or the ground, but if it's full of pesticides, you don't want to do that. Okay, but like, you absorb magnesium a lot through your body, through the bottom of your feet especially. So absolutely, if you're in an area, or if you have a good yard or whatever, you totally put your feet on the ground, you will absorb through your feet. And if not, I mean, that will help you sleep at night. But there is something called Calm, which has magnesium in it, and it will it tastes good. You put it in hot water or cold water. But what it does is, it really helps you sleep very nice. It's a very nice sleep. It's a different form of magnesium. It's not oxide. I don't remember if it's citrate. I don't remember now. But anyway, I have some. I don't use it every night, but it's good for you. In any case, the Calm, it helps you calm, but magnesium is good to help you go to sleep. So melatonin, magnesium. Oh, tart cherry juice, pills, absolutely help you sleep really good at night. I forget what tart cherry does exactly. What does it do? I don't remember. If it raises magnesium levels? I don't remember what it does. But anyway, tart cherry tastes great. You can buy it in concentrate form at Kroger, most stores. You can buy it in concentrate form, and you could take about a shot, or you could take it and make like a gallon and add your own sweetener. Like I have, I use stevia as a sweetener, but anyway, you can like make it into a couple of big gallons of whatever juice, okay? Or you can do it by the shot. It's very tart. If you like tart things, like me and my family, we love tart things. We like sour things, and it's kind of yummy. But that helps you sleep at night. Okay, so anyway, I'm just going on what it's saying here, but I'm just kind of telling you some things that I know. Also, it says okay, so turmeric. They're saying curcumin or turmeric. Now, turmeric is something that a lot of people say that it helps. Well, they're saying you get your tyrosine, and you get stuff, helps you get your sleep, and it will help raise your dopamine levels naturally. I'm allergic to turmeric. I can have some forms of it, but not all of it. Anyway, turmeric is something I kind of stay away from because I just never know. I love it. I love to cook with it, but yeah, I can't do it all the time. But anyway, a lot of people love it. They report really good results with it. So that's on the list. Also, okay, so here's some other tips. It says listen to music that you enjoy. Take cold showers. Oh, yes. Okay. I do this. Not all the time. But whenever I do, like, you know, you have the cold water just hit you before it gets hot, you know, and it's like, well, that wakes you up, it actually, it affects your dopamine. It actually raises your dopamine. This is why you see people who run and jump in the cold water, and because it's good for them, and it raises their dopamine, okay? Those are the things that it does, okay? So, anyway, I'm seeing my lipstick over here. Okay, take cold showers, practice meditation and mindfulness. Okay, so here's the other thing. I learned many years ago, like when I was delivering, when I got pregnant, is when I first really started to learn how to do meditation, deep breathing, because of delivering babies, right? I wanted to do both my deliveries with no medication, and I didn't do any medication at all. And so I learned how to drop into so I learned how to do deep breathing and meditation. But the thing about it is, I learned how to do it in Lamaze and stuff like that. But the thing about doing that when you're about to deliver or when you're having a baby, the thing about it is that as a mom, if you've ever had a baby, you'll know what I'm saying. You can feel the contraction come on. And the pain is so severe, and if you're not prepared mentally, emotionally, like if you're not prepared or whatever, it can kind of take over you, and it really is horrible. It could be a very horrible experience. It could feel like you're about to die, because it feels like it's taking over your entire body, right? But what you learn in Lamaze, what you learn is instead of running from the feeling, you actually allow it to come and take over you, and you actually relax into it. And it sounds so counterintuitive because you're contracting and you're like your body is doing the opposite. But the fact of the mental the mental psych that you got to do to yourself to do that right there, to go in and drop into meditation at the present at the feeling of a threat, okay? Because it feels threatening to have your body go into this contortion, and it's painful, and it's so counterintuitive that you want to like squeeze up and maybe run from the pain, or you know, like try to tense to the pain, but all that does is makes the whole thing worse. And I figured that one out, and so even though I prepared and did Lamaze, I was not mentally prepared the first time I was in delivery and was giving birth. I was not. But he kept saying, don't forget what you learned, and Travis was encouraging me and all that stuff. But the first time I actually allowed myself to relax as the contraction came, because I knew that I actually wasn't going to die from it. It was like, because the first few times I remember thinking like, oh my God, I didn't know that I was actually about to die. Like, I really remember thinking that. I can remember thinking that, like, oh my God, I cannot believe women were cursed like this. Like, I can't believe this is what Jehovah was talking about in the Bible when he said he was going to increase your pain. Like, this is horrible. How does anybody have kids? Like, it was horrible. I just remember thinking like this was way not what I was thinking. But anyway, when I actually did it, I remember, I don't remember exactly, but at some point in that process and that first time around, the midwife or whoever said, you know, okay, relax in it, like just relax and let it come, let it take over you, you'll get through a lot faster. Anyway, I did that, and she was 100% right. She was 100% right, 100% right. And then everything happened so much easier. Now, on the outside looking in, everybody else around me were saying things like my mom and everybody was like, wow, she's not even screaming, like she's not even making any noise. I mean, in the first part of it, you know, I would do the moaning, the but then as I learned to really, allow the contraction to come, I got real quiet. And then the only screaming I did was like literally as I was pushing the baby out, right? And I heard people saying things like, oh my gosh, she's in labor. Like, she's so calm. And also by the time I had Boston, the second one, I already knew what to do. And he came so fast. I was trying to hold him in. That's another whole story. Anyway, so I'm telling you all that to say, this was my introduction to deep breathing meditation, was Lamaze, was having children. Okay, this was my real introduction. Now, prior to that, I remember hearing, and my parents used to say, meditate, in the Bible, meditate. And that's so hard to do as a kid, as a child, whatever. You're like, oh, I don't want to meditate. You're like, my parents tried to make me, and I attempted to, but you have a short attention span when you're younger, and I certainly did not do it. Like, I tried. I would think about things, but then I would just think about something else. I don't know. It didn't really happen, right? So I didn't really learn the art of meditation. I did try to teach it to my kids. I really did, as young. And I mean, like, not just meditate on the scriptures. I tried to teach them, like, that thing. And my youngest, he did appreciate that. He would use it to help him calm down. Anyway, I'm saying, my point of bringing that up is that my introduction to deep breathing meditation was during that time. And so I had learned it, but then I had to do it in the face of fear, or in the face of a contraction, which is horrible. It's like you're about to get beat up. And that's what it feels like, right? It's pain. And so I learned to do the counterintuitive thing. To do the opposite, to like allow this fear to come and relax in the fear. And also during that time of relaxing, I also did a lot of prayer. So I did my deep breathing, my meditation, and I was talking to Jehovah. Oh, you better believe I was talking to Jehovah. I was talking to Jehovah. Like, I took it so personal that this was how bad pain was. I took it so personal that us women I felt like we were bearing the brunt of everything. Oh, I was talking to Jehovah, okay? And because of that, as high-strung as I am, and as talkative as I am, and as, animated that I am, believe it or not, I never let go of the habit of doing deep breathing meditation. And then I got real heavy into it before Travis had passed, and I was going through a lot of trying things in the couple of years prior to that, and I learned how to deal with my stress, specifically when I was going through something rough, or I was going through something hard or whatever. I learned to drop into meditation and deep breathing in the moment. When I say I learned, I actually learned how to do it back then in Lamaze and everything, right? But I never stopped that. And then I continued to do that and practice that in high stress moments. And then sometimes, I would drop to the floor. I call one of my mentors in Mary Kay, she called it floor time, ceiling time. And it's like, you lay on the floor, you got to look at the ceiling, talk to God, But during that time, I would drop into meditation and deep breathing. And which is why, even though I'm high strung or whatnot, I can actually handle stress. When you do meditation and deep breathing, it raises your dopamine. That's the whole point. Okay, when you do that, it raises your dopamine. Okay, so when you raise your dopamine, you're able to actually make better decisions. You're raising your dopamine. You're thinking through things, right? So you're able to overcome that feeling of wanting to go do something crazy, maybe, to get a dopamine rush, right? And then also just the practice of that will naturally raise your dopamine levels, which is what they were saying here on Google. So I don't naturally look to do things that are crazy, or I don't need highs. I don't have that. Like, I know how to get that feeling from deep breathing and meditation. So, it's really crazy to me, because I remember even saying to Travis way back when, way before he passed, I remember telling him that when I learned how to do deep breathing meditation, especially in stress, during stressful times, not just during Lamaze and during childbirth and everything, no matter what me and him were going through or how angry I was, once I really started doing it and utilizing it for that practice, it calmed so much on the inside of me. And I can remember even feeling like I was floating on clouds and feeling a bit of a high. But that's what they call it. But it was like I felt this internal calmness and peace on the inside of me. No matter what Crazo was saying to me or somebody was saying to me, usually him or whatever was going on or whatever, I can remember it was almost like nothing going on the outside of me could steal my joy or could take away my pain or could steal my internal peace that I was feeling. It was like, who is that song by Beyonce? How does it go? You can't steal my, you can't take my joy. You can't, what is that? Whatever that Beyonce song goes, you can't take my joy. You can't take my peace, or you can't take my soul, right? So you can't take my soul. Anyway, that's what it feels like. Like, that's what it feels like. It is such a good feeling. And what I think is crazy is sometimes when I hear people say different things about when they get high, because me, I've never smoked. I'm not a smoker. I don't do drugs. I definitely don't do drugs. I'm just not doing it. I'm just not. Okay? I didn't do it way back when I was a teenager. I ain't gonna do it now. I'm trying to like preserve and keep as useful as possible. I'm gonna leave that to all of y'all. But you know, I'll drink occasionally, every once in a while, whatever. But I'm just not. I don't seek any kind of outside substances for anything. But I really do feel like a lot of times when people describe certain things like getting high and everything, it feels the way that I feel when I am when I drop into meditation real deep. Okay, when you drop into meditation and it is such an internal, strong force of medicine for you. And it's like just you and Jehovah. It's literally just you and Jehovah. And when you can do that, despite anything that's going on the outside of you, I can see why it's on the list. Like, I can see why this regulates your brain and everything, because that's what it does. It really does help to regulate your brain, your body, everything, right? It is a homeostasis. It's a state of being, a state of feeling. Now, my dad, before he passed away, he went through many surgeries. He went through a lot of hard times. One of his surgeries he had to do with no medication. He couldn't, I can't remember why. My mother will have to tell the story, but he had to do a surgery where all they could do was give him like a topical anesthesia, but for whatever reason, they couldn't put him under straight anesthesia because of something. It was like basically in the surgery he had to have, if he didn't have the surgery, he was going to die, but also he could die from the surgery because of not being under anesthesia. It was like that. It was really a really bad state. My mom will have to tell the story one day, but they basically didn't have no choice. It was either one or the other. Anyway, my dad said he just prayed to Jehovah. He knew the risk, and he was at peace with dying, but he said he was in prayer to Jehovah, and he asked Jehovah to, just basically let his will take place. But if it was his will to relieve him of this pain so that he could survive the surgery, then let it be. But anyway, the Bible talks about how the peace of God that will come over you. My mom describes the scene when he went into surgery. She was there, that he had a very peaceful look that came over his face. It was like Jehovah took over him, right? And he had a very peaceful look. He said he felt like he was just in meditation. Okay, but we know that Jehovah really helped him. It was Holy Spirit. Because even the doctors and the angels, the doctors and the nurses, they told my mom after the surgery, because he came out, he survived. He did really well, in fact. And one of the doctors said, because my mom started singing some kingdom songs, to help him, and my dad said he felt like he was extremely calm and like he could just feel Jehovah's presence with him. But the doctor said to my mom that they didn't expect him to survive. They said, we don't know. This is what my mom says, the exact words that the doctor said. We don't know what God you serve, who you worship, but however he is, he was certainly with your husband today. He was absolutely in the room, and he was with me today. I felt him. Like, it was like that. Okay, so the point of me saying that to you was like, my dad didn't smoke no weed. He didn't do nothing to get high. He internally was able to get high, like, or Jehovah knows how to, like, insert that in you to make you, to give you that peace. He knows how to bring you to that state, if he wants to help you to not feel certain things, like, you know, like they say in the Bible, in certain prophets or whatever, where if they were, you know, like, what is it, Stephan or whatever, that was getting stoned, and Jehovah, like, made him not feel it or whatever, and took him. The point is that you can absolutely reach that state of high, or a being of meditation, deep breathing, and calmness, and internal calmness inside of you, which will in turn raise your dopamine and regulate the rest of your systems in your body on your own without any substance. You can absolutely do that. You just have to be on purpose. You just have to be on purpose with it. Okay? You have to learn to do that. You have to exercise that restraint. And because I've learned to do that many years ago, it is now a default for me when I'm under a lot of mental stress or emotional stress. It's a default for me, and it's like, for me, it's like my own secret garden on the inside of me that nobody can come in and nobody can get to. It's like my own secret garden, right? But it also can help you to enjoy and be more appreciative of certain emotional states without feeling that you're going to be completely taken over by that emotional state of whatever, because you always know how to regulate, right? And so you don't feel so overwhelmed and overtaken by certain stressors or stresses, and you don't feel the need to poke the bear either. Because you're already regulated up here, you won't feel the need to have so much outside noise. If you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so that was like a long explanation, but that was on the list, was meditating. It says, okay, so it said to meditate, listening to music, mindfulness, spending time in nature, engage in creative activities. Yeah, absolutely, which is the other reason why I love doing my makeup and everything, and why makeup was so therapeutic for me, especially when I first moved to Atlanta and I had lost my husband, and I stayed so busy. I wanted to be busy every single day. And I still do. I absolutely can get lost in somebody's face. Like, I can get so in the zone sometimes. It is like a drug for me, because it does put me into that meditative state. This is why I always have to put a timer, especially if I'm in a rush, because I've been known, I can stay on someone's face for 2 hours. I mean, just nitpicky. And there's some of my customers, my clients, they love it. They love the attention. They love it. It puts them to sleep, you know. And so, yeah, for me, it's absolutely a form of therapy. It has always been. But it's something that is creative, right? And that's what they're saying on the list. It's something else that you can do. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Anyway, I'm going to recommend that you go ahead and research this on your own to figure out, you know, like if you're needing help with anything like this, or if you're noticing certain things, like, you know, in yourself, whether it be serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine. If you're not sure, you can just go to the doctor and they'll let you know. But there are certain signs that you absolutely, they're just on the list. If you cry a lot, and if you cry a lot and you have a lot of anxiety for things to come, I think that's norepinephrine. And if you cry a lot and feel sadness, gloomy and doom, and like, you know, like, what's the point of living? They call that meh, you know, or like a sense of like, you know, what's the point, you know, and just a form of like a depression, or like that type of sadness or whatever. That's usually a form of low serotonin. You will crave more carbohydrates. You like to be cozy, you know. I like to be cozy. So anyway, so your body will just come out. Your body will tell on itself as far as what it needs. Okay, you just have to know how to listen. You just need to know what it is. Need to know how to listen to your body to be able to give your body exactly what it is that you need. Okay. So anyway, I hope that helps. You know, or kind of put put you on the path or whatever. If you're over here trying to overcome a addiction of some sort. Okay. I think that's it for now. So bye. You guys have a good Labor Day or whatever you're doing out today, working or whatever you're doing. Okay. Bye.